Hello everyone, welcome back. We've been on hiatus for a while, but we're back. Thank you for watching. I'm Sadie Sanchez, and here are the events that we missed while we were gone. Nissan is trying to connect your brain to your car to eliminate pedals and steering. The car will know what you want to do and then do it. Nissan hopes this will speed in reaction time. When someone decides to slam on the brakes, it takes them a little bit to actually put their foot on the brake. But if a person's brain was directly connected to the car, it'd be instantaneous. This is all hypothetical, but we'll see. A couple episodes ago, months ago, we talked about the Me Too movement. Since then, it has grown. More people have found out, and more people have spoken up. The silence breakers even won Times Person of the Year. They represented the hundreds of women who started the movement by speaking about the harassment and abuse. Recently, a new movement has launched. This one's specifically aided by celebrities and activists. Time's Up. The Golden Globes was a big event for this movement where many attendants dressed in black to show their support. The leaders of the movement described their goal as such. We seek equal representation, opportunities, benefits, and pay for all women workers, not to mention greater representation of women of color, immigrant women, disabled women, and lesbian, bisexual, and transgender women, whose experiences in the workforce are often significantly worse than their white, cisgendered straight peers. Oprah last night dedicated her Cecile B. DeMille Award acceptance speech to this movement. Here's a clip of that.
Each of us in this room are celebrated because of the stories that we tell. And this year, we became the story. But it's not just a story affecting the entertainment industry. It's one that transcends any culture, geography, race, religion, politics, or workplace. So I want tonight to express gratitude to all the women who have endured years of abuse and assault because they, like my mother, had children to feed and bills to pay and dreams to pursue. In 1944, Reese Taylor was a young wife and a mother. She was just walking home from a church service she'd attended in Abbeville, Alabama, when she was abducted by 6 armed white men, raped and left blindfolded by the side of the road. The men who tried to destroy her were never persecuted. She lived, as we all have lived, too many years in a culture broken by brutally powerful men. For too long, women have not been heard or believed if they dared to speak their truth to the power of those men. But their time is up. So I want all the girls watching here and now to know that a new day is on the horizon. And when that new day finally dawns, it will be because of a lot of magnificent women, many of whom are right here in this room tonight, and some pretty phenomenal men fighting hard to make sure that they become the leaders who take us to the time when nobody ever has to say, "Me too," again. Thank you.
If you would like to know more, you can follow @TimesUpNow on Instagram and Twitter. So, you've all heard of it. We've heard about people joke about how good they taste and wanting to try them, but there's a new challenge out where people are actually ingesting them. People around the world are biting into these pods, and this has led to a spike in poison control calls. The consumption of these pods can cause difficulty breathing, loss of consciousness, foaming at the mouth, temporary vision loss, seizures, coma, or even death. Literally just don't do it. Like, go make slime or dab or something. I don't know. 13 kids aged 2 to 29 were found malnourished amid filth in their California home after one of them, a 17-year-old girl, escaped the home and called authorities. One child was found chained to a piece of furniture. All the children, except the 2-year-old, showed signs of severe malnourishment, including mental impairment. It started out as neglect, then eventually turned into abuse that involved beatings and restraints. The kids were sometimes hogtied as punishment. Chains and padlocks were also used. They also taunted the children with food and toys, putting them out for them to see, but never letting them touch them. They were listed as homeschooled in state records, but they all lacked basic knowledge. Some didn't even know what a police officer was. A child psychiatrist also stated that these kids haven't experienced the developmental milestones a human needs to be successful in life. He says they face years of rehabilitation to overcome the trauma they've experienced. Their parents, David and Louise Turpin, have been charged with torture, physical and sexual abuse, and other counts that may very well keep them in prison for the rest of their life. Lastly, I just want to show you this picture of the Northern Lights that NASA took because I find it really cool. And probably not cool to a lot of people, but this is pretty insane. Alright, that's it. See you next week.
It's kind of looks like I'm telling a scary story. I'm here to tell you about the patriarchy. JK. Hi, I'm Servanda. Coming at you, fighting the patriarchy, you know what it is. I decided to try and tackle LGBTQ plus discrimination in America specifically because America's already enough complicated, so I would try and tackle that. When researching these different LGBTQ cases, I actually discovered that not a lot of states in America protect against LGBTQ discrimination. It's mostly just things like race and religion. Actually, I have a fact here. 52% of the LGBT adult population in the US is not covered by state-level laws that provide express protection from public accommodation discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. And that's from an analysis by the Williams Institute. Isn't that crazy? That don't add up. I also found out that a majority of Americans didn't know that these laws weren't already put in place, which is probably a reason that the laws aren't put in place. Well, Servanda, why aren't these laws put in place? I don't exactly know either. A lot of people usually think religion, that's why, like, I don't know. Like, Christian are usually the one that come up because, like, they won. They're the popular ones, you know? No offense. Another reason could be that a lot of people don't actually think that LGBTQ discrimination happens enough for it to really matter. It doesn't really need a law to be put in place. Nationally, on average, approximately 4 complaints of sexual orientation and gender identity discrimination in public accommodations are filed for every 100,000 LGBT adults each year, compared to the 3 complaints of race discrimination out of 100,000 adults of color and 1 complaint of sex discrimination filed for every 100,000 women. So it's kind of happening a lot. So that doesn't really make sense to me. Maybe people are just afraid of what they don't understand. But maybe, just maybe, it all comes down to who you've been influenced by. I'll try and add like an explosion. It's probably not going to be that cool. What I mean is what you've learned from the people that you've been around your whole life. Some people learn to think that people that are LGBTQ are bad. Some people learn to think it's weird and like unnatural. And some people just think it's okay. They don't really care. But that's where education should come in handy. If you want to understand... Don't sneeze. Yes, it is. It's kind of necessary to realize that your way of life is not the only way of life that there is. Like I said earlier, in many states it's actually legal to fire people from their jobs, deny them certain services like healthcare and housing, just because of how they choose to identify in society. And obviously it's not just adults that are in the LGBTQ community that are affected by this kind of discrimination. A lot of the times it's kids, children, people, your peers. A 2015 report by Glesen, GLSEN, 66.2% of LGBTQ students felt discriminated against in their own school due to their sexual orientation. I know for students living in St. Peter, it doesn't really seem like that kind of stuff could happen here, but trust me, it does. And it's not just being bullied in school. A lot of kids are actually bullied in their own homes by their parents and siblings because of either their sexual orientation or their gender identity. Another fact coming at you, of the 1.6 million homeless youth, 40% identify as LGBT, with the main cause being family rejection. Potentially, LGBTQ youth won't feel safe at home, they won't feel safe at school, and they won't feel safe out in public. So where are they supposed to feel safe? LGBTQ individuals are almost 3 times more likely to have some sort of mental health condition or anxiety disorder, and this is due to their fear of coming out and being rejected, or being harassed, or even being killed. Also, an estimated 20 to 30% of LGBTQ people abuse certain substances like alcohol or certain drugs, compared to the 9% of the general population. So basically, being yourself could ruin your life. Not really, but it can really seem that way. But if you ever feel unsafe from yourself or others, I can promise you that there are plenty of people that are more than happy to help you. Myself included. I might not be like licensed to help, but like I can try, you know. I'm gonna get really cheesy right now. I promise you that your life is worth it. You're worth it. Helping you is worth it. Getting through this is worth it. Everything is worth it. You deserve happiness, respect, love, and safety. I know it sounds really cheesy, but it's true. In case you didn't know, St. Peter High School actually has their own LGBTQ group. They also have a mental health support group, and I'm a part of both of those. I think the LGBTQ group... Bro, I'm recording! This is a production! Who are you barking at? Is there a ghost here? I think the LGBTQ group meets every Tuesday after school, 3 to 4, and every Friday during Saints time, and the mental health support group meets every Thursday during Saints time in room D206. So if you want to stop on by, it's kind of fun. We talk about our problems. It's a great time. You get to know some good people. I didn't find any danger in passing these non-discrimination laws to protect LGBTQ people. Sorry to be a little harsh, but if the KKK is allowed to be around, why not the gays? The fight for LGBTQ rights will be a difficult one, but in the end, it will be worth it, because then people can live their lives. I'm not exactly saying that putting these non-discrimination laws in place would completely get rid of all violence and crime against LGBTQ people, but it would be a good thing. I think that a key to stopping LGBTQ discrimination is trying to teach people what they're really discriminating against, which is people, humans, just like you. I'm not saying that you have to completely change your views on LGBTQ people, but if you want people to respect your opinions on the LGBTQ community, you should at least try to respect them as humans that are just trying to live a life just like you. This is really cheesy, and I'm probably gonna throw up while editing this.